Can you put your Iliad passage in front of you? Do you have it? The one that Claudia sent you yesterday? This is just a little... There's some first declension nouns in these first 7 lines. In fact, there's one in the very first line. Can anyone see it? So, do you all have the Iliad in front of you, the first 7 lines? So, let me read the first line, and then hold up the number of fingers for which noun in that first line is a first declension noun. Okay, here we go. Menin aeda thea pelei adio achilleos. Which of those 5 words is a first declension? Okay, I see 3 fingers, and so they can't talk to us. Is that right?
Do you see they're chatting here? 3. They can type in the chat.
The chat. Okay, I see 3. Yes. So it's probably obvious why that third word thea is first declension, because of its ending, right?
Right.
Right.
Are you doing that?
Doing what?
Or someone is pointing to the offer.
Oh, Sarah.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. the ghost in the machine. Oh, look, she's highlighting it. Thank you, Sarah. Yes. So thea reminds you of what other noun we had today that ends in an alpha? Gaia, right? And thea, you can probably guess what it means. It's very like theos, which means God. So thea is goddess. So this is part of the invocation of Homer, invoking the goddess or the muse. Notice too, in this version of the Iliad, the accent on the end of thea is a grave accent because there's a word coming after it. However, some versions of the Iliad put a comma after thea. And then if you have a comma, then the accent would be an acute because the comma is a pause. So there's 2 ways. And of course, Homer didn't use punctuation, so no one knows which one's actually right. Skip down to line 3. And I'm going to read line 3. And there is another first declension noun in line 3. Let me read line 3. Polas diphthemus psychas aidi proiapsen. Now, how many words do we have here? We have 6 words. So since you don't have 6 fingers, but it's less than 6. So Janet, how many fingers was that? I see 4. Yes. So the word psychas, which we actually talked about yesterday, is actually a first declension noun, psychas, and we've had that ending today. Thank you, Helen. Sarah. Psychas, and I know you can't. They can't. How do they communicate with me? Which case this is? Psychas.
Some people are, I guess, talking without echo.
I can talk.
Okay, Janet.
It's
what case is psychas?
It's the plural.
It is, and if you go back and look at what I wrote on the screens, the only ending that has alpha sigma is accusative plural. Okay, psychas. It can't be singular and it can't be anything else. And if you know psyche means something like soul or life, something's happening to a bunch of souls or lives. And again, if you know the beginning of the Iliad, you know that these souls are being sent down to the other place, Hades. Okay. A couple of things while I'm doing this. Yes, thank you. That's the word for Hades. Something that we haven't mentioned. Do you see the 2 dots over the iota in that word that Sarah just highlighted, and in the word coming right after it? Those 2 dots mean not a diphthong, okay? Not a diphthong. If those 2 dots weren't there, it would be ID. But it's very important for the meter and other things that it should not be a diphthong. So it's a 3-syllable word, AED, right? AED. And then in the word after it, that Sarah just highlighted, also 2 dots, as well as an accent. So not a diphthong. So it's not proi, it's pro-e. Pro-e ups in. It's a 4-syllable word, okay? 4-syllable word. One other thing in this line and in the previous line, Sarah, can you go back to the second word in the third line? Notice it's just a delta with a little apostrophe. That's called elision. That means it used to be delta epsilon, the word de, meaning and or but that would have had a word ending with a vowel followed by the next word beginning with a vowel, right? You see the next word begins with iota. And Greek doesn't like a word ending with a vowel followed by a word beginning with a vowel. One way of avoiding that is putting that nu in, but you can't do that in this case, so instead you chop off the vowel of the first word. So, and then you put an apostrophe to show that a vowel has been dropped. So instead of saying de-if-the-moose, you say dif-the-moose. We do that in English, right? What do we do in English? Yes, we usually chop the vowel off the second word. So instead of saying I am, we say I'm. And we put an apostrophe and we drop the A off, I'm. So Greek puts an apostrophe and takes the vowel off the first word. So that actually happens in this line, and it happens in the previous line. So it happens quite a lot in Greek. Greek really doesn't like vowels coming next to vowels. So there's, in line 2, Sarah just highlighted one there, and also in line 5. Okay, can you stick to line 5? There's a word in line... Say again?
Do you merge the words sometimes when you do that?
You don't write them next to each other, but you pronounce them next to each other. Okay? So, as I said, it would be dif-the-moose, not de-if-the-moose. Okay, let's look at line 5. There is another first declension noun in line 5. So it's going to have endings very like ba or gaia. So how many words in this line? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words. So hold up the number of fingers for the first declension noun in line 5.
Or you could type it on chat.
Or you can type it in on chat, yes. Aha, I see. Yes, yes, yes. 5 plus 2. So the very last word, the 7th word, is boule. And that ends with A, just like ba. And it must be in what case, boule?
You could type it up.
Yes, the first case, nominative, that's right. This is the plan or the will of Zeus was being fulfilled. So just in the first 7 lines of Homer's Iliad, we have 3 first declension nouns. So that's an indication that they're quite common. So we had thea in line 1, we had psychas in line 3, and we have boule in line 5. Are we allowed to go over, or do we have to stop?
Yeah, we should probably.
Okay.
Probably stop.
Here's a little exercise for tomorrow. I did the same thing for the Odyssey, the first 9 lines, and I found 4 first declension nouns in the first 9 lines of the Odyssey. So maybe you could find those as a little exercise.
That's great.
Okay, I think.